Hey guys, we are doing a dolphin stone. I'm super excited about this one after being inspired by many dolphin tattoos and paintings and pictures on Pinterest. Now I'm starting with a big circle on a Santorini stone. If you don't have a Santorini stone, that's okay. You don't have to use this kind of stone. But it is good to start off with a nice light background. So if you need to prime your stone first with white acrylic paint, please do that first so that the colors stand out nice and bright like this one will. Now I did start with a nice cobalt blue. I'm just kind of sponging with Martha Stewart sponges. Any sponges will work, keep in mind. And I'm just blending in some perfect purple and some cobalt blue. And I'm going to keep adjusting using a plum and a neon magenta and a neon pink piniata until I get to the top of this circle. Now I am keeping all of my blending in like a circular motion, as you can see. I just keep going back and forth around the circle and make sure you're blending while it's still wet, or you're going to end up having like little sponge marks everywhere. So make sure your paint is wet, and it's sometimes helpful to go over it with a big dry sponge and it just kind of all blends together properly as long as it's still wet. So I've moved from the cobalt blue to perfect purple to plum and now to a neon magenta. And then I'm going to add the bright neon pink in the center, pink pinata. And I'm going to add a little bit of white as well up higher. So it doesn't make sense right now, but this is going to be an underwater scene for our dolphin. And the sun is coming down through the water and shining on our dolphin. So you will see. If you clicked on this video, it's probably because you saw the thumbnail and you liked what you saw. So I'm happy that you clicked it and you're watching or painting with me right now. So I have just kept blending until I was happy. It might be a little bit easier for you to see the way you want to blend your picture once you've seen this completed, because it might not make sense just yet. Now this is optional. I'm adding nail glitter. You can add any kind of glitter to this if you'd like. I just like the way I like glitter, okay? Let's just be honest. I like gold and glitter, and I put it on almost every stone that I create. So I find somewhere for it to go, and it just seems to work out. I'm using 3 different colors of nail glitter. I will leave the link in the description of the type of glitter that I'm using. I only know where it's available for me here in Canada, and I order most of my stuff on Amazon. But you might be able to find it in a store up the street from you. So please let me know if you have found the nail glitter, the chrome powder that I am using. Now, it's not going to be easy for you to see the dolphin in pencil, so bear with me while I am figuring out how a dolphin looks. And then I will fill it in with gray. That way you can see it a lot easier. But I do have my nose hanging outside of the ring that I've drawn on here, and that's okay. His fin from his tail will also be hanging out the bottom. So I just like the effect that gives. It looks like he's jumping out through a hole and he's coming up to say hi to you. Or you just have a little snippet of his beautiful world underwater. So I think it's super cool. And I have only ever done one other dolphin rock in the last 7 years of me picking up a paintbrush and painting with you guys, or learning how to paint for you guys. And I'm not confident about my dolphin skills. So we will see how this goes. And if you don't like my dolphin, please don't paint it like mine. Paint it your own way. But be nice, because I'm taking a lot of time in order to do this for you guys. So I appreciate every one of you who knows how much work I put into this and how much time it takes away from my family to share with you something like this. It sometimes does take me a couple of days just to edit the video and make it easy enough for people of all ages to try. So I really have to think about what I'm doing as I'm painting it and narrating it to make sure that it's easy for you guys and not too challenging. So once again, those of you who know and empathize with me and appreciate it, you all are little blessings for me each and every day. I appreciate you. But for those of you who like to thumbs down me every time, you know, find a hobby. Maybe you should start painting. My personal opinion, and maybe I should keep it to myself. But no, all things aside, I have gained so many subscribers, and I'm still in shock that there's this many of you who want to paint and who are happy to learn from me, and you're just so thankful. And it's just not what I expected ever. I never expected any of this. So I appreciate each and every one of you so much. And thank you for sticking around, even if my channel gets a little dull now and then. You're still there for me. You rock. Pun intended. Always intended. So I did put 2 layers of the gray on my Dolphin, and it's just a pewter gray. You can mix black and white together. You can put a little bit of brown, make your own gray, okay? Or buy gray from the store. And I'm using pewter gray from Craftsmart. And then I've added, using my sponge, I use a lot of sponging in this, a little bit of black on the fin and along the back, and then a little bit of light. I added a little bit of white to the gray to go where the nose is and around down along the belly, because I want to lighten the belly a little bit and the tail. And then I just go back in between with the pewter gray again to blend into the black and the light gray that I've added. So it's just a lot of blending back and forth, back and forth. I use my paintbrush to get all the fine areas, and then the rest I use the smallish sponge that I have in my Martha Stewart set. These are good to have if you have not tried them before and then recently used them and found out that they have changed your life. Please comment. Please let me know. I don't get paid. I don't get free sponges. I pay for everything myself. I don't get free resin. I don't get free paint from anybody. This is all from me buying it. And I will not recommend something that I don't feel is adequate. So these sponges have done wonders for my painting skills and my blending skills, and it's a lot easier for me now to blend things, and I appreciate the sizes that they come in as well. So if you've tried them and you like them, please let me know so that I know that I'm not just crazy in love with them for some strange reason. I really do love them. I think they work great. Haven't had any issues. They do, after you sponge like a maniac for 150 rocks, you might need to replace them, which I have a few times. So they don't last forever, but they last long enough for me to be grateful and happy to buy more. So as you can see, I'm still adjusting the shape near the eye that I'm going to be adding. And it's all just blending it all together. It looks lighter, but it's actually just wet. I'm adding the pewter gray. It's much easier to see once it's dry. but just blend until you're happy. You can wait till I'm finished blending so that you know exactly what spots I've lightened and what spots I've darkened. I'm also attempting to do like the I don't know if you know the reflection of water going to the bottom of a pool when the sun is shining through. There's like a beautiful reflection that you can see, and you can see that on top of my dolphin in the thumbnail photo. That's my attempt of making the sun reflection through the water on top of the dolphin's back. If you don't like that, you don't have to do that. And it was my first time trying it. So I'm not confident with that part yet, but you're definitely willing to give it a shot. Give it a try. So I'm adding his mouth now. You can see now where I'm happy with the light and the dark that I've added to the gray. So he was just gray. Now I've added dark around the tail and then lightened the inside, which you can't see very well right now, but dark on the fin and along the back. A little bit darker on his fin at the front there. I will be adding a second. I don't know what a dorsal fin is. If that's the top fin, great. You guys are going to correct me anyway. I know there's going to be some smart dolphin people out there that are going to correct me on his shape or size or color or where his eye is located. But guys, I'm self-taught and I'm not a realistic painter. And this is just as good as it's going to get for you. So please don't make fun of my cute dolphin. I do outline everything in black a couple of times just to keep him up front with me, standing out behind in front of that beautiful background. I will be adding simple bubbles and some simple sea life, plant life at the bottom as well once I'm happy with my dolphin. Now I'm just adjusting around his mouth there. I kind of cut part of his mouth off with the lighter gray. So I want to define his mouth again and make sure that we can see his fin. Everything is just kind of being cleaned up now that I'm happy with his color. He's pretty cute, I think. Now we're adding a little bit of white to his eye to make sure his eye comes to life and it's constantly shining at us. And I'm finding his mouth again. And his other fin, don't forget. This one's going to be more dark. I'm going to keep this one dark on that side because it's shaded by his body. And you can also see it better if it's darker back there. He looks happy, eh? Looks like a happy guy. You can add more dolphins if you want. You can add a little one that's swimming up to the top in the background. Make it really small so that it looks like he's way back there. Take a look at dolphins, the shape of them, what they look like when they're swimming. Go to Google Images. Now here's my attempt at the reflection of the sun coming through the water onto his back. I don't like it. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't happy, so I kept adding and then I lighten it afterwards until I'm kind of satisfied with it. But to be honest, it wasn't easy for me being my first time, and it's something that you guys can probably leave out and it's not going to hurt your painting at all, especially if you don't like the way it looks when I'm done. So you can leave this whole squiggly white line situation out if you're not happy with it. But you're going to see these lines get a lot darker in a minute with too much white paint. And then I let it dry and kind of sponge on some of the pewter gray to lighten the lines a bit, make them not so bold. And then I'm slightly happy with it, but I still had to explain to my husband what the white part was because he was like, "What is wrong with your dolphin? Are those scars?" No, he just didn't know what that white stuff was. But that is supposed to be the sun reflecting down onto his back. That's what it's supposed to be, guys. No scars. He's not a tiger dolphin. It's not being attacked by Spider-Man and his webs. It's just the reflection of water. And here's where I prove to you that I have no skills. I am simple-minded, simple artist, and I can laugh about everything that I do. And you can laugh with me because I'm here all week. So I have just kept going with all these little things and then let it sit for an hour or two until I decided that I needed to lighten up those white lines. But let me just add more first. Let me just keep adding until I'm really not happy with it. So this is all a process when it comes to painting. I'm letting it dry now, and I'm going to go over it with some pewter gray just to kind of dim those sun rays down a little bit on him so they're not so noticeable, because I let it bother me. So you can see one bubble that I added while I was letting him dry a little bit. It looks like I'm completely covering up the white, but it's just because the paint is wet and the light is reflecting on it a certain way. Now that it's dry, you can see it better. I'm just kind of bringing out the lines again, but not going so bold with it. I don't want it to be too bold. I want to be more paying attention to his cute face and his cute body and the bubbles in the background and the beautiful color of his ocean life. I don't want to concentrate specifically on the white strange lines that are on his body. So I'm dimming those down, taking the attention off of them a little bit and bringing him back. He looks kind of frustrated with me, to be honest. It might be because I recorded this at midnight and Rachel needs her sleep. So I'm outlining, making sure that everything is nice and clean, fixing my white lines a little bit so that they're not blotchy. And that again is just the sun hitting the back of the dolphin through the water, so you can see the ripples in the water. Now with these water droplets, I use a fine lining brush and I do a very fine circle. And then I'm using another small pointed paintbrush with short bristles, and I'm watering down white a little bit with a little bit of water. And then it easily goes in along the bottom. I just do the bottom of the bubble, along up the side a little bit too, I guess, with that one. But I just kind of use watered down white to do that portion of it. And then I add a little dot of white to give it a little shine, like it's a shiny bubble. But I'm only using white for my bubbles today. Bubbles are a little different from water droplets, but they're very similar. So if you want to do my water droplet tutorial first, you can definitely give it a try and then work on your bubbles. It's definitely a good starter. So sometimes my bubbles, the line, like the outer circular line, is a little thicker than I'd like it to be. But you can use a little bit of water to kind of smudge it away like I just did, and then start fresh. Just don't play with it too long. Don't get too stressed about it, because then it ends up looking funny, kind of like the water reflection on the back of my dolphin. You mess with it too long and you start losing confidence in it, and then it doesn't look right. So I added a little bit of shine on his one fin there and a little bit on his tail fin. You put your bubbles wherever you want them. You can add other fish, other little tropical fish, or other plant life if you want. I did just use the cobalt blue to do some plant life, and then I did like a little black line inside of the blue, like just kind of outlined it messily, not perfect, just a little messily, and darkened the inner parts of those plants with black. And that's it. That's all I did. You can add shells, you can add little stones on the ground or on the bottom of the ocean where the plants are. You can add whatever you want. That's the best part about your painting, is that it's yours and it's unique, and you can add whatever you want. Now I'm just cleaning up the outer circle because of course I did sponge out there a little bit because I'm not perfect, and that's okay with me. I'm doing a nice thick black line though, and then I'm going to be doing dots of gold around that to kind of frame it in. Once the black is dry, of course. So you add your bubbles wherever you want them. I did do a couple that are slightly on the dolphin, and then others that are just kind of floating upwards. It gives it the look like he's underwater, because or else you'd think that he wasn't. So he is underwater, and that's why there's light reflecting on him that way as well. So my gold dots are drying. I'm just adding my signature to the bottom right, and then I'm going to resin it for you and turn it into magic. So I did add, because of the glitter on the background, I did cover it with some gloss, just so those glitters stay in one spot. And this is it resined. My Lord, it brings out all the color, all the sparkles. It just makes it look so beautiful, guys. Thank you so much for painting him with me. I hope you loved it. I love you all.